So excited. Thanks for coming. Thanks for being here. I want to come and really say hi to each one of you after I had a small surgery, so this is why I'm stuck on my chair. But I'm going to come after and hopefully spend time with you. There are some familiar faces, some other not. So hopefully I can also have this 1 minute a little bit to connect with you guys. So exciting to have this first TP woman, but I'd like to start with an applause to this one man that is quite we have some others, but thanks God, we have some courageous men like Nikos with us on the panel. So the cause of today is really important for me and for all of us as a company. I think we have progress to do, but that's one step on how we're gonna discuss more this equality and making sure that women, and despite all gender in the company, that we feel that we have equal opportunities all over, okay? We have a lot of things to discuss. We have a beautiful panel here, so we just introduced Nikos with an applaud, but I guess we need to applaud the woman of the group as well. So we have Mercini, she's our chief marketing. We have Eleni, most of you most probably know Eleni, she's super famous VPs of business development. Thanks to her we are growing. And then we have Dimitra, VP of recruitment and support functions. And Natalie, of course, HR manager and onboarding. So some really strong women on the company that are here today to really share their experience. So don't be shy after I would just learn that you are, it's an open question as well. So yeah, through those questions to us, feel free to engage. And of course there is another super beautiful woman there on my right. I want to applaud the shoes because she's actually, and I was because I'm coquette as well as a Parisian girl, but I say, oh, I missed the shoes. I should be wearing those. Alexandra, thank you so much. She's gonna do the moderation today with us. It's a really, really important role. Thank you so much for being there. And all the team, of course, on the background, from the marketing, from the HR, everyone that was engaged on making this event one of the first. The cause, again, just to repeat, is so important. As women and as company, we have responsibility to make sure that we bring equal roles into the company. There is two other names that I want to mention. One is on the back there, Iphigenia with a pink, nice, even pink as well. And Natasha, they are both, they are not on the panel with us, but they are both part of the TP Women Committee, because for those that didn't know, we do have a TP Women Committee, and we have some governance where we actually gather together and discuss what we can do better to make sure that this company is where that you will feel that you have equal opportunity to succeed. So I'm going to give the word now to this beautiful lady, and we can start.
Thank you, Charlotte. And we need to give an applause for Charlotte.
Absolutely.
So it would be actually great to start from small introduction, one by one, and career path. Charlotte, would you like to take the lead?
Of course. So, career path in general, you want me to touch into the company? Okay, that was not the first question that I had in mind, so we're gonna have that one. Career path. First, as a company and as a strategy. If the question, let's go into detail, was, do we think that we still have things to change? Yes, we do. Do you think that is fair? Hopefully, yes. And I do have a lot of people coming in my office, despite gender, again, if it's men or women, and telling, I didn't feel I had the truth, I could choose and be part of it. So we are really always reviewing on how we do the recruitment and the process to go through all the steps into the organizations. If new things will come, hopefully yes, but I really feel that at this point, at least, we have equal opportunities for the first step into the pyramid. What happened next? So let's say we move to talking to our TP languages for the supervisors and the QA where there is a massive people. If growing into the pyramid is easy, no, it's not. And why it's not easy? Because most of us, at some point also in our career, we have a lot of responsibility at home, right? So the real question that we need to answer as a company is actually how we can help better the women that want to grow above some of the first levels of the management and making sure that they can have twins, for example, that I can recall that you had, and still being part of the company. And there is another thing that the reality after COVID bring into as really a big problem, is the work from home. So I'm really conscious on how do we make sure that the women of the company working from home still have the same visibility to us. Because visibility is the thing. Like when you work from home and sometimes, the management don't have you in front, how do you still stay present and how do you keep on improving yourself even if we are in a work from home model? So again, I believe the process we have as Teleperformance Greece is a fair one. I'm not telling that there are not things that we shouldn't increase, but the focus is really more into improving coaching and mentoring, just to make sure that we help you as women to have the visibility and the experience we need to continue growing the pyramid.
Thank you, Charlotte. And for how many years you are in TP?
I'm 20.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yes, any doubt of my age?
We are not asking the age anymore.
That would be biased. No, yes, I am 17 years. So I start really young. I definitely grew into this company with all the layers. I think maybe I didn't went to the HR, but I was supervisor, and I was QA, and I was ACM, and I was CCM, and I was VPs, and I actually jumped one seat, and I became a CEO, which I am absolutely proud and amazed to have such a team and running the company.
And you started as an agent.
I did, and it's really helping me because, some of the faces I have in front of me today, we've been working together in different positions, and I think I feel so much what is the heart of the company, and the heart of the company are agents. And I do feel what they need, and I do feel how pressure can be the job, and I know the stress coming, and I know the stress coming from being a supervisor and making sure that you bring your KPIs in. And I know what it is to be a QA and needing to do all your monitorings, but also be up to date with all the processes. I know what it is to be a CCM and that you need to deliver the financials. I know what it is to be a VP. So I understand how our organization is actually run.
Thank you. Nico?
Hello. So I've been with TP for 23 years, I believe. I can see a couple of people in the audience that are probably here longer than me.
No, that's impossible.
Yeah, no, there's a couple. When I came to TP, I was fresh off the boat from the US. The company then, I think, was something like 300 agents doing Greek support only, debt collections for one client, Citibank, doing debt collection and telesales. And I've seen it grow to this monster that it is today. Great monster, by the way. What else can I tell you? I'm Greek, grew up in the US, went to school there, worked there, and then decided to come back. What do they call the people that come back because of love?
Immigrant love.
Erotikos μετανάστης. Yes. That's the one.
And a father of two.
And a father of two, yes. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mersini. Well, I don't have this impressive tenure that those guys here have, but I've been working for the company for the last 9 years. Well, when I started, of course, the company was around 3,000 people, and now it's almost 13,000. So I've experienced all this great growth, and it was amazing. What else? I'm a mother of a 6-year-old daughter, and I'm very happy to be here today and to see everyone of you here. Thank you.
Okay, I need to say you don't feel like you have to applaud every time, right, guys? So please relax a little bit, right? So we are here to get to know each other better. So for me particularly, I'm Eleni. I have been working here for the past 15 years. I have another 15 years in my back, so proudly reaching 53 years of age as we speak. I have 2 teenage daughters. Actually, my eldest one is sitting today for the Panhellenias, so fun times at home. You can all relate to that, right? And I have as well 3 cats and a husband who is the pillar of my home and always complaining that he's coming last. Trust me, that's not the case. So I really hope that we get to know each other a little bit better throughout the day, okay? And yeah, more to come.
Thank you. No.
Hello everybody, my name is Dimitra. I've been working for TP since 2007, so 17 years and 15 days actually. Work anniversary is coming.
You really count the days.
LinkedIn reminds me, TP reminds me, so you know. Anyway, so I've started as an agent as well, then supervisor, ACM, CCM, senior CCM, and the last almost 2 years now, vice president for the support functions, which is very interesting to see the other side of the operations as well, just for those that haven't seen it. Mother of 2 as well, a boy and a girl, teenagers, a cat as well. So, and recently cancer-free, so I'm very happy to be with you today.
All right, so last but not least, I will say, right, okay. So I'm Nathalie, I'm 17 years in the company. We actually started more or less at the same time with Dimitra and Charlotte as well. I see many faces here with whom I have worked either in operation or in HR, so very happy to see you. All right, so my story, very simple. I came here because my husband is Greek, so again, like Nikos, that was the reason for me moving here. When I started in Teleperformance, I already had 3.5 years in contact center, so I joined as an assistant contact center manager. Back then we were less than 2,000 people, and we were starting to grow the international business part. So that's why I came in. So I was very interested to start with a team of French speakers in one of our departments, and then to continue to grow. After about 7 or 8 years, I think, so I'm an organizational psychologist, so I always wanted to work in HR, and I think the people with whom I work in operation, they know that it was always the orientation I had. So I decided to make a step down and move to the role of HR/ERD assistant. Back then it was totally new. So you would tell me, you were Asian, you went to, yeah. I made this move because that's what I wanted to do, and I said, okay, I will start there and we'll see how it goes. So now I'm the senior HR manager for the Teleperformance Greece. The team has grown a lot. When we started, we were only 3, taking care of employee support. We are now a team of about 60 people, trying to support people the best we can. So, yeah, I just wanted to share this with you because, you know, career path is not always a straight line. Sometimes we may take a decision to make a change, to step down, just to be able to progress furthermore in something that fits what we want to do. Voila. So I think I made a very good pass for the next one.
So over the past decades, the role of women indeed changed. However, we also noticed that some traditional aspects thrive. So, do you believe that women today have a harder role to fill, and are the expectations the same? Charlotte, can you please take this one?
Do we believe that we are the same?
Who is a mother?
Are dogs count?
Mother of dragons.
So, like, I think we come a long way. So there are definitely in the society some progress, but we are still far away from really being equal. And that starts at home. I think like there is a real bigger responsibility on women and expectation from the society on what women should do. I'm going to give you an example, and that's, Nico, don't take me wrong, but we are built differently from men. And it's like, again, don't. We need the men in the company, of course, but like. So when it comes to expectation, I was at the school of my daughter, because I missed the question before, sorry for that. So I also have 2 kids and 2 life. I'm going to explain later. So I was going to see my younger daughter, and I just had a discussion with new moms there, discussing, and most of them were not working. And they were like, when I actually mentioned that, yes, I'm running a company, they were like, oh, like the look were like, how can you do that job and actually raise a kid? So you see that expectations out there from women or men are really different. Another example is that when I go to an appointment, they do expect, especially on the Greek market, a CEO being a man. So the expectation, but also the reactions are way different. So again, I do believe that we did a lot of progress on what we carry as women, but there is still a lot of things and a lot of changing. And one of the first steps is what we do today. It's really like discussing and sharing ideas and having men with us, because it's really, it's not a fight, but it's a change that needs to come from all of us. And it's a change that also starts with our kids. So I also have a boy, he's 22, almost my age. Don't ask me how could this happen. I'm just looking for it. But that's really something that I've been discussing with him so much, because I raised my 22-year-old boy alone. Okay, so when I was going up into this company, I was also raising a kid alone, which for my daughter is really different, because I do have the support that I need. I have a lovely husband. He's my support system. I have a lot of help around me. But when I was alone with the kid, I had to sacrifice a lot of things. And again, the expectation of the society on a single mother are really tough. Even if you look for a job, how could even you grow into responsibility roles if you are a single mother? So again, to keep it short, because we only have 2 hours, and when they give me the Microsoft, I can talk and talk and talk, so I'm gonna. So I think we come a long way. We still have a lot of things to do. It starts with us. It starts with understanding where we can change in our own life and move on.
So obviously I can't tell you what it's like to be a woman in the workforce. So I choose to tell you what made my views, and it started with my mother. So I'll tell you a little story about my mother, and then I'll tie it back to whether things have changed. So my mother grew up in northern Greece, very poor family, stopped going to school at 4th grade, started working in the cotton fields, picking cotton, until she was 22 and she got married. About 8 years later, she got the opportunity to go to the US, so she picked up my brother and me and moved to the US. So you have to picture this. An immigrant woman with a 4th grade education, doesn't know the language, has no clue. The only thing she knows how to do is pick cotton in the cotton fields, and in between, because she didn't have dresses to wear, she learned how to stitch so she could make her own dresses. So the only two things she knew how to do was pick cotton and stitch. So no cotton fields in Boston, so she started looking for a job stitching. She found her first job in a company called Stride Ride. Those of you that have kids may know, they make baby shoes. So she used to stitch shoes. Did that for about 4 or 5 years. Realized that she wasn't going to get anywhere in that company, so she started looking for another job. Found the next stitching job at a company called New Balance. If you're into sports, you wear their shoes. She started working there. Piecework, as they call it. The more shoes you sew, the more money you make. So she was very fast, extremely accurate, and she got noticed. And towards the end of her career, she even got promoted to supervisor on the production floor. So all this from a woman who had a 4th grade education, didn't know anything else, learned how to speak English on her own, not very good, but enough to get by. Got her driver's license, which was a major thing for her, and even got promoted to supervisor. So, have things changed? I think they have. All of you don't have the great disadvantages that my mom had, but some things have not. Is it any easier for, and this is a great pass from you, Charlotte, is it any easier today for a single mom to have a career and raise her children? I don't think so. That's all.
Nothing more powerful
Cheers
than...
to your man.
Yeah. So nothing more powerful than a woman determined to achieve her goals. And both stories are a testimony for that, right? Mirsini?
After all these, I don't know how much I have to add. That was very touching, and every time I listen to this story from Nikos, I mean, it's amazing what women can really actually achieve. So we have seen, obviously, great advancements from the story that Nikos just shared, and we have things that are worth celebrating as progress, right? But as Charlotte said earlier, we are far away from being equal. So expectations are quite high for women. We are called to cover multiple roles simultaneously. So we are asked to be great mothers, at the same time have our ambitions and career growth, being caregivers. Society is also putting much more pressure on women in terms of also when it comes to beauty standards as well, right? So you have to look great, you have to be fit, you have to be athletic, but you have to be also great in everything that you're supporting, and that can be extremely overwhelming for women, and it usually leads into increased stress and burnout sometimes. So yes, we have seen a great progress, but we are not equal yet, right? Traditions still persist in a way, and we need to change that.
Thank you, Mirsini. At the beginning, we mentioned career path. And many people believe, oh, it's easy for them, it's easy to achieve, but career path is never a straight line. So what is the importance of setbacks and challenges that we actually face over this period of time, from the beginning onwards? Eleni, please.
Yes, okay. I think that Natalie touched it and Alexandra as well. And I just want to say that when I started, like all those years ago, I have never a clue, I would never have imagined that I would be here today talking to all of you, right? What did I study? I studied literature, French literature, right? So what am I doing today? I'm doing pricing and budget sheets. Όλα καλά. Έτσι. So the issue was that when I came back, because I did my studies in France and I came back, I was really desperate into trying to get my own apartment, because imagine living for 3 years alone and then having to come back to a family with a patriarchic, very traditional family of back then. And I was not able to do that via the private schools and via the private lessons. So one day I landed a job as an agent in a telco company. And guess what? After that was, back then it was the golden years of the telecommunications. And sooner, I would say in 2 years, I got my first promotion and I was able to make enough money to pay my rent. And I got introduced to the corporate world, and that was the magic. So from the rooms where we were studying and understanding and analyzing behaviors of characters from books, I ended up doing budgets and Excel sheets and pricings, which I love, don't get me wrong, but it's quite different, no? Many years ago, 10 years ago, there was, and I'm also a perfectionist, so 10 years ago there was a client that reached out to me one day. She was like, back then she was my age now, right? So she turned to me and said, look, Eleni, I can understand that for you it's very difficult to fail. So you do not take failure very well. But let me give you some piece of advice. Fail fast, learn from that, and get on with it. So this is something that for me is an advice that I will always cherish, because failure is part of the journey. And we should not be afraid to fail, because if we do not try, we will never learn the outcome. So that's it for me.
Eleni, one quick question.
Go.
Is failure a failure?
Failure is an opportunity for learning, so no.
Exactly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Natalie?
What else to say? I think everything is there. If you don't even start, how do you know? But very often we are afraid, not that we are not going to manage it good enough, and we don't even start. So very, very good advice as well. I think I'm going to only agree with what Eleni is saying. Step back, there will be. It's not correct to expect something else. So there are moments where we are going to do step backs. We need to sometimes as well, because if we get into a routine of something that doesn't work for us anymore, then we are putting our wellness at risk. And so it's very important to regularly, through our career, take a moment and reassess, am I still where I want to be? Me personally, and not what people are expecting from me. So, step back we have. I mean, I mentioned to you one of the step back that I did voluntarily and consciously some years ago. I think what is really important is to learn out of this and to really get over the feeling of failure, because it's part of the learning process and how we grow. So if everything goes smoothly and perfect, we're not getting out of our comfort zone and learning and pushing our limits. So we need to get out there and we need to accept that yes, we will fail, we will have setbacks, but it's part of the journey. So yeah, there you go.
Being very kind with us today.
I would like to ask you, Nikos, how would you define a great female leader, or even better, you can give us an example.
Let me give you an example then. So I'm 60 years old, roughly.
Come on.
Towards the end of my career, but in all my career I've had the pleasure of having 3 women managers. So I think I will tell you about them, and I think that will show what I think is great. When I got out of college, the first job I got, I was working for Geraldine O'Brien. She was my manager. So what did she teach me? She took me by the hand. I was a newbie. So she took me by the hand with patience and started me off on the road to corporate success. So from her, I learned patience. About midway through my career, 20 years later, I had the job, actually it wasn't 20, it was more like 50. So I was working at Wellesley College. For those of you that don't know, Wellesley College is a female college, the best female college in the US. So I was working there as an IT guy, and I was working for Lorraine Keating. She gave me the first management opportunity. So she taught me how to manage people fairly, kindly. So I learned that from her. And now it's fitting at the end of towards the end of my career. I now work for Charlotte.
I'm gonna go now.
So what is she teaching me? Tenacity is the word I would use. Tenacity to get things done the way she wants to get them done. And driving this great ship of ours through thick and thin. So I think those three women, including my mother, is what I think is great about women and what they have to teach us, men or women.
Thank you, Nico. You were truly blessed with women in your life.
Oh, yes.
And now look, you're surrounded here. Thank you.
We take care of you.
I can see that, yeah. So we will move now to the work-life balance, and I see that Natalie is ready. So I'm sure that your days are starting early in the morning, ending very late in the night, yes? And it must be very challenging actually to combine everything, work, family, your personal needs. How do you manage it, and how important is actually to maintain that balance?
Well, I don't manage. No, but let's be honest. I hear some podcasts that some women say, yeah, you can have it all, and you can be a mom, and you can be a friend, and you can be a daughter, a sister, a CEO, no? You sacrifice. So you just balance, just to make sure that you can balance everything. Are you losing some friends? Yes, you do. Are you spending less time? It doesn't mean that it's not better for the quality time you spend with your kids, but do you sacrifice time with them? Yes. Do you sacrifice time with your family? Yes, you do. So it's everything to be true to yourself and trying as much as you can, yes, to be organized, of course. I have everything scheduled on, I am a control freak, anyway. So I have everything scheduled on my calendar. Do I have time to go with my friends? I don't. So you get organized, but you know already that you need to do some hard choice. But at the end of the day, it's what matters to you. And bringing by my kids, I had these discussions once. He's now 22, so he's at the university. He's a 2-meter boy. And I was like, I was so often away because I was definitely working a lot of hours here. So I was missing, and I was not in the school events as much as I wanted. I was never going to the birthday party. He was like, okay, maybe I'll let you go. And once I asked him, because now with his sister, I'm actually trying to balance what I didn't do. And I say, okay, did you miss me? He said, yes, of course. I didn't miss you when you were not home. But I'm so proud of what you are today and the message that you can pass. that in Greece, you can do whatever you want if you continue to believe in it, to work for it. But yes, that comes with sacrifice. So to whoever tells you can have it all without sometimes hurting somewhere, that's not true. So work-life balance for me is the dream. I don't have the recipe so far. I'm trying to keep the balance everywhere, but it's definitely the truly hard equation that all women, because you have the expectation. Nobody's asking my husband what I'm gonna eat today. It's always me. If I have an important meeting and it's my kids, I'm gonna pick up the phone. My husband will never pick up the phone. He almost never knows when are the school's obligation and everything. So expectations are different. It's all about jungling on your priorities. But if you know what is important to you, then at the end of the day, you make sure that you try to keep the balance. Don't take me wrong, balance is important. Putting the limits is important. Finding time for yourself is important. It's different by what is important and if you can manage to have it all.
So, I will look it at a little different angle, but no. First of all, personally, I don't like the work-life balance term because I don't like to see work as an opposition of life, because work is part of your life. It's also necessary. It's also something that helps you grow. So I think I prefer the term life balance because there are different aspects in our life. Like Charlotte mentioned, I mean, there is friendship, there is family, there is having fun, there is a lot of things that are part of our life. And having a perfect split between all these spheres is not possible anyway. It's just what is important to you. So again, it's about knowing yourself, reassessing, because throughout your life, there may be sphere of your life that you need to, reduce a little bit the time you spend there in order to spend it somewhere else. Work is part of your life. It's not your life. And I think I'm mentioning this because the particularity of work is that it can help. I mean, some people, they see at the way they define themselves, and it can become very addictive as well. When you get good at something, you are laughing, Kate. She knows because we have had a lot of conversation about work-life balance, right? So work can be very addictive. If you get rewarded out of the job, which is good, but again, you need to set boundaries because it's only one part of your life. So you need to see what is important to you. I mean, is it family? Is it a friend? And try to allocate time for this as well, and allocate time for you as well. If you put everything and all the energy in your work, then the system is going to fall apart. And I'm saying this because I've been there. I went through this. I've seen many people being there. And when we have different roles, and everybody has, men and women have, but the expectations are different. We talked about that. If you put all your energy in one sphere only, then you are not going to be balanced yourself, which means that it's going to impact the way you support others and your family and how you are with your friend. And I'm talking about experience because I have several times in my career been on the verge of burnout myself because of my passion and my dedication for the job. But then you need to step back and you say, okay, this is not working for me anymore, so I need to reassess. So what do I need to do? I will need to use my network. I will need to educate my husband on how to do a few things. I will need to talk to my kids. Now, guys, you have grown up. It's time to learn how to do this and that. Maybe I need to invest for something to be done on my behalf. So there are many things that we can do. But I think the most important is to keep yourself in check. know what is important to you, and whenever you see that it starts slipping away, it means it's not working for you anymore, we need to reassess. So trying to find the balance that is that makes sense at the time, right? And sometimes you need to have someone talking to you and tell you step back, yeah, step back. So yeah, that's what I have to say about life balance. Yeah.
So there's not actually one size fit when it comes to
No,
balance?
not at all. Not at all. Personally, okay, friendship is important to me, but it's not the priority. To be honest, I prefer to have few friends, and I'm not that much into going out, etc. It's fine for me. I am not feeling that I'm sacrificing it because it's not important to me so much. You know, family is though. So if I spend too many hours at work, then I'm getting upset because family is important to me, so I'm taking all those hours. So this is why I set some boundaries. Not that the job is finished or that there is not more to do, but it's okay for today. And I would like to add as well that the myth of working long hours, I mean, this is a myth. It's not because you are working much more hours than someone else that you're actually more productive. On the contrary, there are many, many studies that have shown the contrary in organizational psychology. So after 10 hours, the concentration, etc., is dropping dramatically. So better to stop, recharge, do something that you enjoy, and then come back. Yeah, thank you.
Actually, Charlotte gave me a great introduction to the next question, because you mentioned that your children are actually very proud of you, which is the most important part, and that sounds to me that
Depends
also
on
you're
the day,
managing
depends
with
on
a
the
balance. But it's a great actually introduction for our next question. Mirsini, I would like you to take this one. What is the role of family and partner support in our day-to-day life and challenges?
Well, fundamental, right? I mean, it's one of the most important needs that we have, and I'm pretty sure that if I ask all the ladies here on the panel, they would pretty much have the same idea. It's I wouldn't say impossible, but it's extremely difficult to achieve what you want to achieve. It's much more challenging if you do not have the family and partner support. It's more than crucial. It's practical support, it's emotional support. It's extremely significant to have somebody with whom you can share, you can talk, they can listen, they can practically support, and you can share the course of the everyday life with somebody. But I would also say that one of the most important aspects of support is how we are raising the next generation as well, because for all of us who are parents, raising children in an environment where responsibilities are being shared makes a huge difference. If we are bringing up daughters, having our daughters seeing that their mothers can pursue their dreams, they can have goals, they can achieve their dreams, it's a great role example. If we are raising sons, it's pretty much extremely important also for them to have the example of a father who is very supportive, who is there to care, who is there to share, who is responsible. So apart from what we have to face every day and how important it is for us, I think that if we really want to break barriers, it's also how we are bringing up the next generation. So yeah, extremely significant and profound, I would say.
Question there. Do you manage though to have, let's say, to be equally dedicated to work, yourself and your husband, or at the end of the day it's always a sacrifice on one side or the other?
I think we pretty much covered this before as well. It's not equally. It's not equally distributed, that's for sure. But we need to try though, right? And I think Charlotte said in the previous question, there is always some type of sacrifice. So we are not there yet, it's not equal, but we need to try. And we need to make it happen somehow.
Eleni?
Okay.
I said that my husband, who complains that he's coming last, right, is my pillar, right? And the reality of the thing is that I feel him like my coach. He says that I always have your back and I will always be in your corner. That helps a lot because no matter what the hours are, I know that I will not go back to a sulking phase. And I know what that looks like because I have seen it. You know how, I don't know how many of you have had that experience, but if you are with somebody who does not appreciate ambition in a woman, then you get a lot of nagging and a lot, of mysterious ways. So the fact that I managed to be 20 years with my husband this last Wednesday, so we had our anniversary, yes. Thank you. Is because of the fact that he is my best supporter, let's say. Is it equal? No, it's not. He does a lot more things around the house than I do. That's the reality of it. On the other side, I never become lazy. Like if I wanna, when I go back, I always say that I wanna help too. I wanna do this, I wanna do that. And, I do it just because the burden in a couple needs to be shared as much as possible. So no, without him, nothing would have been possible. Sorry, it sounds like a love confession here, but it's the reality. And to the point of raising the children, I think that my daughters do have a very good, right now, role model for their husbands. Like if they, choose a mate in the future, they would know what to expect of him. Now some complain, some friends tell me that it will be too tough on them to find somebody. I'm trying to say no, because we are changing as a society. So yeah, support needs to be there, guys, because it feels like you're doing, like the athletes. The athletes cannot really perform if they do not have the coaches, the parents that will take them and pick them up and all that beautiful stuff.
First, amazing, and thank you. And those two gentlemen are really lucky to have you. I'm sure they know, but I'm confirming. I just want to make sure that to all the single men, to all the men without husband or men next to them, that doesn't change a thing. When we talk about, if you are lucky enough to find the man of your dream, that's perfect. But if not, when we talk about the support system that you need, it can be anyone. It can be a sister, it can be a best friend, it can be a colleague, it can be whoever. You just need someone that when you get up on the morning, just really trusts you, but it starts from yourself. The second thing more that I want to bring in the conversation is that the company is not out. We are trying as much as we can to support single women as well with some of the scheduling that we can. We cannot do everything perfect. I know sometimes when you think, you say, they should do something different and I should be able to do that. It's not so easy, but where we can, as a company, we're gonna stand and support really. And the other thing that we do is we really go to the government and try to increase childcare. I think one of the biggest issues that we have in Greece is the lack of childcare. If you don't have a grandmother who is dynamic enough to take care of your kids for the 8 hours or 9 hours that you're in company, then you're in struggle and you need to ask for friends, can you pick up my kid? I went through that. I went through a public Greek school where my son was going out of school at 12:30. 12:30. What do I do with my kid at 12:30? Are you kidding me? And nobody could answer me. So as a company, we really also go and try to discuss on how can we improve childcare in Greece. It is really hard, but it starts from there. Because if the moment that you do kids and you don't have a man that can take care, or a becera or whatever, that can take care of your kids, so what do? Then you have the expectation from the society, especially Greece, that you're going to be the one that is going to pick up the kids. Your husband, depends on how lucky you are. But again, most probably you're going to be the one that needs to go there. So as a company, I also wanted to add that We understand the needs of some of the improvements that we need to push as a country and try to find some childcare solutions, but also that a support system can be whoever you decide to be next to you and can bring this extra support that you need.
Charlotte, now as we speak about support on a company level, what are some initiatives and strategies that we can implement in order to foster actually gender equality?
That's a great question. So again, some of those I just touched, like really making sure that we cooperate with the institution outside. But inside, when it comes to gender equity, I think a lot of things that we need to improve is first some events like today. Like, let's be there. It seems simple, but it's a start, right? Like, we never really address or even discuss that. So starting by a better communication, then starting by making sure that we ensure equity from a recruitment to the promotion that we talked about earlier. Because if we don't, and we don't get more women into the pyramid, then we lack of role model. And today, one of the things that we are struggling around us is, did I have great mentors in my life? Yes, I did. Men. Why men? Because there were not a lot of women around that I could identify myself. Yeah, of course I have my mothers, my role model, but when we talk with business, it's struggling. When I go out in networking in Greece, guess what? Most of the CEO are men. So we really need to put everything in place. So mentorship, workshop, where we can discuss, where we can be there, learnings, e-learnings, putting women we are talking to, put in place some training on public speaking. One of the issues that we have is that we fear of being in front. Men would go even if it's bullshitting sometimes. But they would go, like they have this confidence. No. They have this confidence that we don't have. So we need to be able to take younger girls into leadership position and train them on, yes, you can go in front and like coming over your fear and making sure that you have a voice and we see you and you have the representation and you have the exposure that we need.
So I totally agree with all the points mentioned by Charlotte. Thank you, Charlotte, for saving me. No, honestly, obviously this initiative is a great start and opportunity to meet each other and share ideas regarding gender equity, but also we can use technology on our behalf, I guess, in order to help us out. We know we're in 2024, we have AI, we have machine learning, we could use technology in identifying, detecting any gaps that we might have in the company, in processes, within the departments, detect and mitigate any biases that we might have, even in recruitment, in selection, in training, promotion, name it. And then I believe that one of the initiatives, I would say innovative, that we could have is actually, the picture will help me prove the concept here. So we could have ambassadors, equity ambassadors, same way that we used to have TP ambassadors, for those that remember, to promote teleperformance. We can have people within the departments to promote equity, identify, again, at the department level, all the gaps, focus on initiatives, create events that could actually promote gender equity, gives not same exactly opportunities, because same opportunities that not always mean equity. You can see that picture here. So we have 3 people, different height, I would say, given equal opportunities, right? Everybody has a stool. But no, in reality, they don't need a stool. Each one needs specific means, specific ways to get to the goal. So we need to focus on taking individual actions, help each other, identify our needs. We need to talk to express that, otherwise we will never find out, and actually get there. Thank you.
And you mentioned bias, and I would like actually Natalie to pick that one. Yes. What are the most common biases that we are facing today?
Okay, so I think I will take from what Dimitra said a little bit earlier. If we want to improve things, we need to look at the situation. Okay, so I will tell you that when we started the TP Women Committee a few years ago, we started looking in the data. So if you look at the statistic for Teleperformance Greece, we are more or less 50-50. And actually more women overall. But if you deep dive into the results and you break it down by position, then you realize that the next level is completely reversed already, you know, and then when you grow further up, etc. So if we want to bridge this, we need to understand why is that? I mean, why do we have more women in the basis, but then in the next, we already have a gap. And this reason is going to take much more time to get equity at the top. And if we look at European level, actually, based on the latest gender equity report that they have issued, it will take 140 years to close the leadership gap between men and women. And if we want to close the gap in different sectors of activity, we need to understand why we have so little women applying for scientific position, you know? So I will tell you about myself. I was really, really good in math, in biology and physics. That's not the career path I chose. Why? Was I maybe influenced, you know? Did I thought that I would not make it in a scientific career? So I think education will be very important. And this is bringing us to the bias as well. So bias are conscious and unconscious. They are learned over time through the practice, through how things are in society, etc. And they reach a point where we absorb them. So we end up believing them as well and interpreting things the one way. For example, a common bias is the confirmation bias. And we have an idea that women cannot drive, so we tend to notice this kind of particular event and reinforce our preconception. Oh yes, women cannot drive. No. So the thing is that we absorb them as well, and sometimes we set our own barrier. And we will not engage or apply to a position because we think we don't have all the prerequisites. Well, here we need to stop ourselves and say, no, I will go for it. If this is what I want, I will apply. And I will let the other decide if I am. Well, there we need still to have some control in place to make sure that we are making the same selection process, etc. But what I mean is that, yeah, bias are part of the issue that we have today, because we have preconception. For example, I know very well that Nikos is struggling to get women in IT, whereas I'm getting trouble to get some men to apply for HR roles. Why? I want them, yeah? You know, you know, but they don't apply. Why? Because we need to work on it, you know? It's perfectly okay. If we want to change things, we don't need to just have more women in traditionally men roles, we also need the contrary, right? Because we need to have models, we need to be able to see, you know, like I'm growing up as a boy, oh yeah, I can be in HR too, huh? I'm sure they all want to get in HR, but you see what I mean, right? So bias, yeah, they do play a role. It starts by trying to be aware of them. How do we get aware? By talking about it, by getting some training. I think we also need to think ahead because we need to prepare for the future. And the future skills, the future of work skills, they are technology, they are, intelligence, artificial intelligence. Are we preparing ourselves for these kind of roles? In the future, repetitive, easy tasks are going to be automated. So it's from today that we need to get ready for that, right? And we need to start preparing. And I'm very confident because things have not changed drastically, but they have changed. And there are so many women in so many different positions and roles who are excelling at it that we know that anything is possible, right? We can learn anything. So, but we just need to start from now. Yeah.
Thank you. I have actually a great question here. It's for Charlotte. We started about possibilities. Okay, can you be successful with motherhood and leading the company? And this is also, actually, at the beginning of the story, we heard two sides of one bias. The one thinking, no, she can't, and you actually doing it. So the question is, how important mentorship programs are to break these barriers that we all live with, and what they can bring to all of us.
Mentorship is crucial. Again, it goes back to, it doesn't really matter who is going to be the mentor. It does matter from the skill perspective, but it's more, again, the first thing on why we need to have those mentorships is the support. Again, it can be a man, and most probably it's going to be a man, and for me it was a man. It's the support that you need when you need to go, and I'm talking only about business right now, okay? I'm only talking about the career. When the stress comes in and the burnout is in the corner, and we heard Natalie previously say that I was near burnout, and it happened to me at some times on my career as well. The role of a mentor is really important to bring this support. So we talked previously on the support of the family outside of the job, but the important role of a mentor is keeping you above water when you need it. It's showing you the way and showing you sometimes when you get overwhelmed. You get this emotion that we do have as women, and we're going to discuss that if it's good or not later. But someone to put things into perspective. Either job is not everything, either the way to deal with a difficult situation. So it plays this supportive role, which is critical for me. Do we have enough in TP Greece? Maybe not. I guess some natural kind of mentorship are taking place. Like I have a good connections with my ACMs or with my CCMs or with someone and he's becoming my mentor. If we do need to put things in place structurally, yes, I do believe we need it. But naturally, if you find someone that inspires you, and we go back to the discussion of the role model, why it's so important also to be able to associate yourself to this role model. It is critical to have someone that can be there, support you, learn your new skills, and push you. I want to go back to one last thing that Natalie just said. Things are changing. AI is coming fast. And it's going to be our responsibility as women to make sure that we can catch up with the race in front of us. It's our responsibility as mothers to make sure that we break the bias. Girls are not only for dancing. Girls are for math. Girls need to go to robotic. Girls need to be pushed for STEM studies. And we need to be okay for that. The future is going to be a lot around technology and new things coming. And it's include ourselves. Are we every day when we can? Even if when we're cooking, yeah, I don't cook, by the way, but learning new things. We cannot step back as women because the big change is gonna hurt us first. Guess what? Because men, to what Natalie was telling already, they will go and apply for a job even if they know half of it. Us, if we don't, we're gonna be shy, the fear of speaking, the fear of being in the first field. We're gonna push ourselves and say, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna catch the curve. I'm gonna learn now. I'm gonna push my daughter to be ready. She's gonna be the next whatever AI specialist, doctors or whatever. It starts from us as well, just putting ourselves out there. But going back to the question, yes, mentorship is really important and we're gonna put more structured things in place.
Eleni, can you say?
I would say that for me, yes, mentoring is crucial, and most importantly, because we can always aspire, when we work closely with somebody, we admire them, we can, aspire to, that role model. But for me, more importantly, the structured approach of mentoring would allow us to connect people that normally would not be connected. For instance, like, an assistant contact center manager to a VP or to a C-level, a supervisor, to a CCM, not directly connected via, the reporting mechanism or the hierarchy or whatever. And that will create a relationship where the younger, the people that are in less senior positions will start getting exposed to the way of thinking of the more senior positions, and that will help them advance a lot. Years ago, I would say that if I had the chance, to take a sneak peek at some of the rooms that I have found myself to be later in, maybe I would have reacted in a different manner. So that's what, mentorship should be about, right? Give you a sneak preview of what's there. Maybe you want to go there, or maybe you don't want to go there in the end, but that's the bridge that maybe it can help you, overcome.
No, but that's right, Eleni, what you discovered is so important. One advice. The biggest decisions of your career are going to be taken when you are not in front. I repeat myself. The biggest decision of your career in Teleperformance Greece or outside are going to be taken without you being on the room. So mentorship and sponsorship and bringing people to connect, show your abilities, create a network, be in front. Don't be afraid to talk and show your value. So, to Eleni's point, which is so important, mentorship is also from bringing your value on the rooms where we take decisions and the door are closed and you're not in front of it. Never forget that. Those decisions, you're not in.
Yes.
Sorry,
It's okay. Why? So I agree with both of you, obviously.
Thank you for agreeing.
That's the woman power, right? Yeah, we do agree. So definitely mentorship is something that we need to proceed with as a company, for sure. I think it makes totally sense, not only to learn new skills or methodology or way of thinking, or to create a bigger, wider network and get to know other functions, other people, but for me, what is the most important thing that we need to do during those mentorship sessions is actually to break all the barriers, all the no's, all those things that actually tell us, no, you cannot do that, no, you are not able to do that, not because you don't know it, but probably just because you are a woman, only because of that, only because she might be whining, she might be being too emotional, or really, I mean, we are working in a company where emotions is our number one priority as a minimum skill to hire, to show empathy, understanding, emotional intelligence. So we need our emotions, and for sure I think mentorship is the proper way to control all the aspects of our lives, including emotions. So definitely, let's do that, Charlotte.
So actually, I'll take the liberty to share a story. So I joined TP 5 years ago. Today I'm a global wellbeing lead. And when I started my work, it was Vaha. You understand, I wasn't exposed to people at all for 2 years. Prior to that, I was, beside my proper education, also singer in a famous theater. And I was exposed to people. I like to use mic, which you can see. We'll see about that.
Yesterday, maybe we can repeat today.
After COVID, I couldn't face a single person, especially if it's a man. So if I talk to somebody, I would blush. I got promoted to a project manager role, but I was keeping my camera on off because the moment somebody says my name, I would go completely red, like Tomatino, proper one.
I still go completely red, don't worry about it.
Yes, but I would also lose my self-confidence and question my words each time. And I do have smart things to say.
Occasionally.
So, occasionally it happens. And 6 months ago, I started my mentorship with Eleni, and thank you. And in these 6 months, actually, I started talking to people. I stopped blushing that much, and here I am today with those amazing ladies and the gentlemen. And I have to confirm that mentorship program is really very important for growth of all of us. And thank you for that.
Thank you for sharing.
So, to go back to our questions, there is a prejudice that female leaders tend to be more emotional. And we all heard something like that. Oh, you're too emotional. So emotions, and who better than Nico? An ally?
So let me answer the previous. So I was on the other side of that project management job. She was assigned to me to do the project management for Meta,
Supernova.
for the Supernova audit, which was a very, very difficult audit to pass. It's mostly IT. She was the project manager. I was wondering in the beginning why your camera was off. I never saw you blush.
I'm
But-
wearing makeup here.
But I remember going to Eleni, I think, after the audit. I remember going to Eleni and saying, I like her. She really, really, really helped us get not only a 100, which was extremely difficult to get in this audit, but there were words from the client across all of Teleperformance for what a great job we did. She was part of it, but yet she was shy.
She's blushing now.
So getting back to the emotional question, I don't buy into the prejudice that women are somehow more emotional than men. I have a hard time answering this without smiling. I have worked for very emotional men in my life. I will speak about one. His name was Ron Margolis. He used to manage us by how good his commute to work was. So if his commute to work was extremely bad, we all knew we were going to have a very bad day. So I don't buy into this
What's your bad
prejudice.
driver?
I don't know. I never got in a car with him. So yeah, I don't buy into this. Emotions are good if you can keep them in check. Emotions about work, at work, if you can keep them in check, are very powerful. If you bring your home life emotions into work and you can't keep them in check, that's career ending. and I don't care if you're a man or a woman, it's extremely difficult to have somebody who is constantly emotional and can't keep it together. So keep it in check. Emotion is a great motivator, but you have to keep it in check. And you have to be able to separate your home life from your work life. That's all.
Thank you. Eleni, and then Natalie, please. Yes.
Okay. I have a story here to share again about emotions, and I think you'll understand why. First of all, if you are finding initially your identity through your work and you get passionate about it, right, it's very difficult not to have emotions. If you like what you do and you have some passion, emotions are there. So let me tell you that when I was 26 and I got my first promotion, like so many years ago, I still remember my first annual evaluation. Yeah, so it was a long document, but actually it was not a long document only, it was a long talk with my director back then, and he provided me a score on the emotional control, which was a 2 out of 5. Yes. Okay, so 30 years, like almost 30 years later, and after lots of work, lots of introspection, lots of self-management, I can proudly say that I'm a 2.5 out of 5. Yeah. So, to Nico's point, emotions are very, very important because they are a motivator, they drive you, they give you the passion to do the things that you want to do. Controlling them is something that is important. So, don't forget it, okay?
Natalie.
Sorry?
I was very
Yeah.
important.
So the question was if it is
Emotions.
allies
Enemy
or
or
yeah. So okay. First of all, emotion. They are an information. They are a piece of information. They are a sign from your body that something is either good or off. Yeah. So it can be both. It will depend on how you are going to, what you are going to do with this emotion. So I think all of us, we have, because of fashion, because of, what we have lived, every day we have emotion. So it's not something to be hiding it or to try to repress it, because it's actually doing much more harm when it is like this. But it's to getting better at recognizing them. Sometimes we do leave emotion that we are not able to label or to understand, and it may take some time before we actually realize what happened. But learning to recognize them and then stop for a moment, meaning take a deep breath, do something else, okay, and then come back to you. Because it's very, very personal emotion. It has to do with your own path. So very often in my career, I'm having conversation about people who are completely upset about an email that they receive. It's a catastrophe, this email, but how did it go through? How did they write this to me and everything? And I'm reading the email and I'm like, what? Because there was nothing bad in the email. It's just the way you reacted to it. Obviously, it triggered something in you which is not there. Yeah? It happens very often, believe me. It's a conversation that I have had with myself, first of all, and with many others in the organization. So when we get hijacked by emotions, the best thing to remember is stop. You don't reply, you don't call, you don't act upon it. You just do something different, and then you come back to it, you review it, and then you will reply or do something about it. Okay, so I think it's a good thing to have emotion. We need them because it's what helps us to connect and to relate with each other. We need them. But we need to get better at how How do we interpret them? Because we've learned to not be emotional, so we've learned to repress them, and because we repress them, then we are not anymore good to understand them. If we don't recognize them, this is the first step. Okay, so what is happening? What are my triggers? If I know my triggers, I can adapt my behavior, right? So, yeah, I think they are necessary, and we just need to learn to react to them in a more constructive way. Yeah.
So, Nico, as a leader of almost 100% male department,
Almost.
99.999, what would be your advice to other leaders who are looking to support women in their organizations?
3 out of 72 is not 99.99. So let's take a step back. Why is it a male-dominant department? When I open a position and the CVs I get from HR, 99 out of 100 are male. What can I do? So going back to what we said earlier, you got to teach your kids that they can do anything they want. Go back to the example I gave in the beginning. My first manager was a woman in the technology field 4 decades ago. 4 decades ago. And the bias is still here. We have to fix that. So that when I open up a position, I get at least 50-50 the CVs, then I have something to choose from. Right now I have almost nothing to choose from. So what would I tell the leaders in case there's bias? If you're interviewing a woman, you're in the interview and she's in front of you, and she's capable of doing the job, she's qualified to do the job, hire her, period. That's it.
One for Charlotte and Mirsini. How important that is that us women support other women? How important is to have this type of support system around us? And do we have it in a real life?
We don't. So I think I'm going to use one word that I often mention, is sisterhood. I've faced competition, hard competition, in the workplace, first from women. We are so aggressive one to the other, so competitive one to the other, instead of being supportive. The big issue is not us, it's not being competitive to ourselves. In the contrary. So, sisterhood, support, mentorship, woman to woman, being open. It's not a competition, there is place for everyone. Really support it. We are struggling for the same issues. We talk about it. Most of the men don't have the same expectation as we do. We are struggling with the same issue. But still there is something inside us that goes like, oh my God, I need to compete with. No. So it's really like going back from us. Like step by step down, that goes back to the emotion, the way we are built. We have a lot of work to do into how do we continue and how do we create a better sisterhood rather than spending time to fight each other, being there for one another. I think it's really important.
And learning how to admire each other.
And congratulate each other.
Well, I think you covered everything. I was earlier before the event, we were talking with the ladies here, and I was sharing an example, an experience that I had, because what Charlotte is saying is unfortunately quite true. Women can be extremely competitive and they bring up barriers for other women. So I used to work for this very big company in the past. So it was this very senior executive. She was obviously a woman, she was a single mother, very high in the ladder, very successful. So at some point we had this huge project that was coming on and we were looking for new hires. So we were working on screening new people. So at some point I went to her with a CV, with a candidate, a female candidate. From her CV and from a quick conversation that I had with her, she seemed perfect for what we were looking for, literally perfect. So I was very excited and I went to her and I said, okay, I think I do have the person that we need. So she screened the CV quickly. She asked me how old the candidate was. I said she's 30, 32, something like that. She asked me whether she was married, whether she had already children. I answered no to both questions. And immediately she rejected the candidate. And actually the answer that I got was like, no way, we're not hiring a young woman when she very soon will be looking for a husband and she will want to become a mother. And this will take the whole thing back. So I've seen many cases like this. It was a quite shock for me back then. It still happens. It happens a lot. So women keep rejecting other women. There is huge competition. And I think that without this type of support, we will never, ever reach the level that we want. It's the step number one. So, and only unified voices can also bring the societal changes that we want, right? So if we keep putting barriers on each other, we will keep having conversations and we might have great workshops and events, but actual change, I think, will never come.
And we are actually here to prove that it can be different. And we are here to bring that change, right? Okay, as we are moving towards the end, we're almost there. I would like to ask all of you actually for a short advice you would like to give to all of us.
A short one. Yeah, that's it. That was many. I think one is be true to yourself. There is no recipe. We talk about work-life balance, what is important for one people. Never lose yourself. Just make sure that either you want to go on the top, either you don't want to go on the top. Either you want to raise your kids, have both. Just make sure that you don't lose yourself. A second advice, I know you asked only for one, but I'm gonna keep going. Second advice is, in the time we live today, we're gonna face a lot of change. A lot of change. Technology is coming really quick. Quicker than we would ever expect. We are responsible for our own future. Be an eternal student. Don't let it go. Push yourself. What we do now is not what we're gonna do in 10 years. But we have the responsibility to shape our future on our own. And the third one is everything starts from us. The bias we talk about. If you're a man, if you're a aunt, you have knees, girls out there, everything starts from you. You can do ballet and math. You can do robotics. You can be proud of your colleague for being promoted. Be the change. Be the change and be proud of the women around you. And thanks for being here today.
That's tough to follow. along the same lines. Work hard, focus on your dreams, don't lose sight of your friends and family, and your dreams will come true.
I would say that we should first remove our own biases. I think that before we look for the change that we want, we need to make sure that ourselves we do not carry with us biases, because we do in many cases, so this won't bring the change. So let's first be free from any biases that we have.
Okay, for me I would say that as you do whatever it is you choose to do, be mindful of the fact that each action has an impact on others. Never lose sight of that, because if you want to become leaders, you have to remember that you have an impact. And if you can do that on a positive way as well, that it is a positive impact, so much the better for all of us. Thank you.
Well, I cannot say something different, to be honest, due to personal experience. Take care of yourself, do your tests, right, every year, don't let it go, don't excuse yourself because you're very busy. We are all very busy, we have work to do, schedule your appointments, get there, and everything's gonna be fine.
What else to say, really? No, I think it's just go for it. Start. Don't delay, don't postpone, don't say to yourself you're not good for it, you cannot do it, you can. So just go for it. There you go. All right, so I mean, we really want this event to that you can go back with something and take the time to reflect on it, both for you, but also for us, in order to get some ideas. So you have a piece of paper in front of you and 3 colored post-its, right? And you should also have a pen, right? Great. Everyone? Yeah? I think we still have some if someone doesn't have it in front of them. All right, so what do we want you to do? There is 3 whiteboards over there with the same colored post-its. So what we are going to do, I'm going to ask you to write on each color something different, and then once you're done, to go and paste it over there, so that we will have an overview, okay? So the first thing that I want you to do is on the blue post-it. I want you to think about this event and write there what's your main takeaway, what you are getting from this event. Second color. Which is the orange one? I think orange it is, right? Okay, so here I would like you to think and tell me one thing that you would like us to improve as an organization with regard to women, TB women, right? So one thing that you would like us to improve, basically something that you think we need to focus on. Yeah? And then the last, so think about what kind of topic you would like the next session to be about. Yeah? What would you like to dive in, or what would you like us to cover that maybe was not covered today? Okay? So the topic of the next event. I would like you to go to the whiteboard and to put the matching color there. We have a buffet for us to be able to take the time to socialize as well. And we have a little gift for you. Before you go away, over there we have a gift for you. Thank you very, very much.